Good evening. This is a late night because I wasn't around in the morning to record this, but my hand today is pocket tens on the button in a 25 NL game. This game happened a while ago, so let's see what happened. So mid position player open raises at 2, folds to me on the button. Now, typically I see a player open raise for 2. I kind of consider that as more of a limp, and I just raised isolate, and tens is definitely in one of those. However, when we look at this player's stats, I have over 1,000 hands on him right now. Knowing that I have all these hands on him, I'm going to look at his stats mid position. He plays 19%. His race first in is only 13%. His limp first in's 13%. So he looks actually like he's a tight player here. 6% is something like this, and this could be his raising range, and then his limping range could be the rest of these pocket pairs here, maybe some of these connectors, maybe ace jack king queen offsuit. Increases his frequency, but I think he's going to be raising pretty small. When we look at his notes that I have here, I have limp and called to raise. I have aces, I have eights and sixes, ace jack suited. I think that's important. Limp and re-raise, kings plus ace king suited, ace king off. So I do know he is able to limp raise with some hands. So raising first in, I'm going to probably go like 50% for those. And then these other ones are probably raise first in. And maybe then, if those are at 50%, maybe adding nines as a raise and maybe jack 10 suited as a raise. No, not jack 10. I think we're just going to leave nines. So that's going to be his range. Me on the button versus mid position. I've got 3 bets looks like this. I've got 3 better call that looks like this. However, I don't think this is a standard mid position range. I think we're going to call this guy a tight player. So when we look at the tight player, I think this is going to be our calling range, which tens are there. And the reason being that he's already going to have a fairly tight range to begin with. So why raise with some of the weaker hands when we know he's just going to call stronger hands? So, and this is just one of those players that probably doesn't raise very big to begin with. So we're going to go with this as our calling range. And I did call, and then the blinds folded. So we see a flop of queen 6-6. It's a rainbow board, and villain checks. Now, when we see a c-bet set, his c-bet isn't very high. He's in position, he only c-bets 43%. When he's out of position, he c-bets 11%, 1 out of 9. So what do? Well, he misses c-bet. He misses c-bet. What hands does he miss a c-bet with? Let's check our notes. He raised the flop c-bet with overpair less. Now that doesn't help. I do have, let's see here, raise first in mid position with ace king. Offsuit, check call 2/3 pot on an 8-6-6 board. Check call 75% pot on a 4 club turn. So he's basically calling with overs only. That kind of leads me to think that if he's willing to do that with those notes, and I know this isn't the same, maybe this is the same hand. Maybe I just screwed up and put an 8-6-6 instead of a queen. But having something like that, then I think maybe we bet. We do have a hand. We think he can call with ace king because he has such a strong hand. He's probably checking with, I'm going to say full house could be possible. Overpair, maybe as a check. We're going to do ace high. We know he can do that. So that's going to be his checking range. If I bet, what does he call with? Well, we know he's going to probably call with all of those. So if he's going to call with all of those, look at this breakdown. 26% is ace high. 29% is pocket pair less than the top card. I think tens are one of those. I think we could probably check. However, we don't really want to give a free card here. So I think we can c-bet, and I think we can c-bet basically maybe our entire range. Let's add our group here. Ace high would be a bluff. Definitely with the 2-card backdoor flush draws. And I know some of those will have draws on them. So I kind of think something like that as our c-bet. And yeah, probably half pot. I don't think we have any reason to go larger. But if he is going to call larger, then yeah, favor the larger bets. Get a higher equity. So we bet, he calls. So I think we've already have those. And then an 8 of clubs comes on the turn. He checks again. So if I check, I think if I bet, I think at this point, he's probably still going to call the full house, check call the full house. But I would bet maybe an overpair comes in for a raise. I really do think top pair would be betting. And actually, I think we're going to go back here. We're going to say, I think top pair probably would have bet. I think overpair would have bet. Maybe the full house just checks. We're going to go something like that. And then when the 8 of clubs comes around, when he checks again, we're at full house. We're at pocket pair less than the top card. We're at no made hand. Question is, what hands is he going to call with? I mean, maybe he calls with ace king. But would he do it with ace jack and ace 10? I don't know. It's still 80% of the hands. He's calling flush draw, that's for sure. So I do bet. I bet half pot again. So maybe this is a different board. This looks like it's a different board. So if that's a different board, is he going to call again? He does call again. So yeah, let's just give him all of the aces. Let's just give him all of those. And let's break it down. So we're going to say this. We lose to full house. We lose to jacks. We split with tens, and then we beat everything else that he could call with. And he does have flush draws on there, so yep, so you're right there. Like, I'm ahead of 60% of the hands. Yeah, we should bet. We should probably go larger. 5 spades comes out, and villain checks again. And the question becomes then, what is he going to call with? Oops, hold on. We didn't go to mine. What am I going to bet with? So once I bet, once he checks, we're going to be betting that, and I don't know if we're going to continue betting with the sevens. I think we are going to be betting flush draw open enders because we're looking to get the pot in. If the flush draw comes there, I don't think like ace king's going to be calling, ace jack's going to be calling anymore. So yeah, we're betting on a draw, but I think if we bet and we get raised, we're going to be like way behind. It seems to be my thought. Do we always have to do that? No, I don't think so. But I think we're betting all of those, so we're going to have some sort of bluffs in our range. So we're still just betting 64%. All right, 5 spades comes out. That's better. So we still have the edge, and he checks. I don't think he checks a full house. I think he's 100% betting a full house. So at that point, we're looking at that hand versus that hand. It's 90% a hand, so let us get here. There you go. So He calls 92% of hands. We win 65 of them. This should be an easy value bet. How much? Half pot. I don't think he's. And that's if he calls with the ace high. And if he calls with the ace high, does he always call with the ace high? Well, we can like drop some off and say no. Let's say he only calls with ace 10. And that changes it. We're still 53%. Does he call with all of them? So if he doesn't, then we're looking at winning a third of the time, splitting a third of the time, and losing a third of the time. So it almost seems like this is probably a positive play because we split the pot a third of the time, and then we win a third. Maybe that's just like a break even indifferent. Maybe it's probably losing in the long run when we think about the rake. So does he call with ace king, ace jack? Let's see what I have here. I don't have anything on the river for him. So he checks. I think it's probably okay to check behind if we think he's just going to fold his ace, ace king, ace jack hand. If we think he's just going to call it, then I think we have to bet. So what do? I check behind, and he shows nines. So that was one of those pairs that we have beat. So I do want to take notes on him because it's almost like we've seen this again. So RFI MP 2 big blinds with 9 of clubs, 9 of hearts. And then he check called half pot. Actually, check call 50%, check call 50%, check. And the river was queen of spades, 6 of diamonds, 6 of clubs, 8 of clubs, 5 of spades. All right. So I thought I played this okay. I do think this guy is going to be a tighter player when he comes in for a raise. Still trying to figure out what that 2 big blinds is. Is that a solid hand, or is that something like this where it's just kind of mediocre? I guess only time will tell when we play him. Did I miss out on a value bet? I did. I think I should have bet this river. I still think if we're here, I think we lose in the long run. Yeah, we split a third, we win a third, we lose a third, but we're paying rake. So I think no matter what, even though this could be an EV of 0, it's actually a negative EV because of rake. If we think he's going to call with ace king, then I think it becomes an easy value bet at this point, and it's going to be a positive value bet. So did I miss some value? You can argue it one way or the other way. Knowing this, knowing how he played it though, and knowing the ace king hand, I think we probably should size up. Probably 2/3, then like 3/4, or actually 3/4, and then a pot size bet on the turn, just to kind of maximize the amount of money that we win on hands like this. So, all right, hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.